Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today, or good afternoon. This is called to order. The meeting of the Historic Preservation Board, Denison, Texas, will come to order. It's 12 noon, Tuesday, March 5th. All members are present: Kurt Chakowski, Linda Anderson, Steve Riley, and Rhonda Bourne, and myself, Kirsten Solomon. Items for individual consideration: A, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for a certificate of appropriateness to add LED strip lighting around the roof line of 400 West Main Street.
No public comments?
Oh, what did I do?
Public comments?
What? No public? Do we have public comments?
No public comments.
Minute.
You missed A. Sorry. Go back one. This is speed.
Okay. Receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on approving the minutes from the February 20th, 2024 meeting.
I move approval of the minutes.
No discussion?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion by Linda Anderson, second by Kurt Chakowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Okay. B, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for a C of A to add LED strip lighting around the roof line of 400 West Main Street.
Good afternoon. If you recall, this item came before you during our last meeting at the February 20th HPB meeting. It was tabled at your request. We were hoping to have the applicant present at that time, and they are here today to answer some of your questions. It's not. Thank you. This is the proposed lighting that they were asking for. They want it to be colored. If you recall, this is at the corner of West Main and Burnett Avenue, and they are asking that the lighting be included year-round, from what I understand, but they'll be able to answer some of your other questions today. You also had asked me to do some research on some other districts, and from what I found, I looked at other districts both in Texas and outside of Texas. The string lighting, typically there is a color that is allowed during seasonal, during the holiday season for a specific period of time, and the intent is to just highlight the building features or the windows or things like that for a specific period of time. With that, I would answer any questions that you may have, and then if you would like to hear from the applicant.
Just to make sure on your research, they can have the research that you have found. Buildings are allowed to have their white lights and then on the holiday lighting for that certified period of time, or that extended period of time. I think ours is 90 days.
That's correct. And some of them went so far as to say what color the wiring was allowed to be. You know, Christmas lights sometimes have the green or the brown or the black wiring. So the level of detail in some of the ordinances and some of the guidelines, it varies, but it can be as specific as that should you wish it to be.
And we never found anything in our past minutes here in Denison.
No.
Okay. If the owner would like to come forward, or the requester, applicant, there you go. You all can come on up there, that's okay too. We just need for the record your name and your address.
My name is Chris Romaine.
In the mic.
Oh, so sorry. Name's Chris Romaine. My address, my personal address.
Or your business.
400 West Main. So, in this photo, you can see what y'all have here. The example photo is a little extreme on the colors. We didn't want any uplighting. Yeah, we weren't looking for any uplighting to go down the building. It would be the white strip across the top. We have a digital render here. If I could approach, I could pass this iPad around.
Thank you.
The white strip would be color RGB. You know, we could change the color of it. We would follow any guidelines set in place.
Do you have an example of the color like this?
No, ma'am. We kind of planned to leave it white. That was the goal. We don't want it to be like an intrusive color by any means.
But is it programmable that you could have whatever color you wanted?
Yes, sir. So We looked at other places like as well, and we found a place in Ohio. There's another picture if you slide over. There's a building that just has the white light across the top. It's very classy. It looks great. I mean, we're hoping to that this would kind of be like the beacon of light for us, as we're about to be shut down for a while as the park is undergoing and the streets are going. We're going to be working at night a lot, so we're hoping to kind of bring awareness, like, hey, we're open, we're down here, it's kind of dark.
So the full-time choice is going to be a white trim then, and then just holiday lighting would be multicolored? Or is
Yeah,
that-
like we talked about white before, but yeah, most definitely we would,
And-
that would be approved.
That cast is from a white line then, what that picture you wrote?
Yes, ma'am.
It's very pretty.
This is much less,
Yes, exactly, yeah.
much more subtle.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's, we're going for subtle, we're going for classy. We've got the chop house across the street. We really want to, we're looking to kind of tie into like that whole, what's going on over there.
Yeah, I think because we're looking for something that's complementary as opposed to, you know, your own unique brand that just, boom.
Yes,
that
sir.
We saw, and most of the buildings are lit with white lights, and which complementary the square, but there is some concern that, you know, we have this ultra-modern look from what we saw on the photo we had to go by.
Yes,
And that was a bit of a concern for the board, I think.
On holidays we will, at Christmas and something like that, then we will have some color.
I agree with you too. It's a compliment to the park. There's lots of dynamic lighting that's about to happen on Main right there, and to create some magnetism during construction is, I see the,
and again, it's not to be,
Purpose.
we're not trying to be loud by any means. We're just trying to spice the place up a bit, so.
So if I understand, it will be predominantly the white lights like you showed us, and if there's color, it would not surpass the 90-day.
Exactly, yes, ma'am.
Our note from Ms. Ang says that the lighting would provide a shadowing effect. And I'm wondering if it's just a straight line, what would be meant in the trade by that?
I'm not sure I understand the shadowing, I'm so
That
sorry.
was in the,
In your letter, in your request.
Oh, yes. That came from our building.
It would be multicolored, would provide more of a shadowing effect on the building.
I think that they were, and I'm speaking on behalf of her, I think what they're talking about was the white light on the top, and then her wanting to change it like at Christmas, and it not being, it just making a shadow line across the top of the building versus, not like a spotlight, or it wanted to extrude a bunch of
Shading
light.
as opposed to a-
Exactly, like there's no uplight or downlight on the building, it'd just be like, and I could be wrong here, so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
color casting.
I was talking, you know, Dana and something like that, so we can have some feedback
And I know it is important for the Angus to, I think, like for Christmas time, to be able to like make the lights red.
make it merrier, you know, everybody cheer up and happy. It's a happy.
So I think
We
that's,
like
when
happy.
she says light, I think that's the main,
Thank
that's
you
where
for
we're at with
that.
that, so.
We like you happy. And you can see that this, what you're describing to us now is considerably
Yes,
different
ma'am,
than
yes,
what
ma'am.
we saw. So
Yeah.
thank you that this isn't in.
Yes, ma'am.
No, not there.
any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys, we
you.
appreciate y'all's
Thank
time
you.
today.
The only thing I would point to the board is two things. Number one, we obviously have to address this in our design guidelines. And number two, this is kind of a tipping point, and I can go either way. Grapevine has white lights along this for the entire Main Street section. This would open the door that I am positive, especially with D3 coming in, closing the road, the main street, that there'll be others that will want to do this. I could be, and this is much different than it initially came. I could be convinced of this,
Yes.
but this is a tipping point.
I think you're right, but I do think we need to address it further in our ordinances, but I don't see with what they've proposed now is that drastic. I think it's one of those, maybe our policies are a little deficient, and we might want to redefine how to do that. Because if everybody does it according like this, it's probably fine. But anything outside of these boundaries is probably gonna be difficult.
I guess I would say is if we approve this, I would ask the staff to direct them to add an appropriate spot in the design guidelines
Yes.
that we would then address. Because I guarantee you, there'll be more places wanting to do this.
Well, then could we make possibly a contingency, just what you're talking about, that just, it depends on quality of lighting or of some sort of, I know it's not ordinance now, but to prepare that or guide that. And also, I saw that in Mary's homework, sorry, I called it that, investigation. That the permanent lights are approved, they will have to meet the International Energy Code.
Yeah,
So
I'm
if
looking
we-
back to our compliance guys back there. There is a standard of the types of lighting you have to use. So if they're gonna put up there, they would then fall under that ordinance.
Yeah.
We're just for the historic preservation, check
Color,
mark on it.
color.
Okay. So we don't need to make our approval contingent upon that?
No, we've already
code
asked them to
message.
do that, and they will.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do you have it in your mind?
I'm sorry?
Do you have your
Motion.
motion in your mind? Actually, I think we just approved it the way it's.
Yeah, I'll absorb the tipping point.
I would approve, I move that we approve the LED white strip lighting around the roof line of 400 West Main Street in compliance with all other city ordinances.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Rhonda Bourne. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to C, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for a C of A for new construction on the site of 321 West Main Street.
If I could just remind you all to speak into your microphones. It's kind of difficult to hear you, and we want to make sure Ms. Avery gets all of the details for her minutes. This request is on behalf of the city from David Baca's office. He will be constructing the city's new building across the street at 321 West Main. If you recall, as everybody knows, there was a fire over there, and so the city is constructing this proposed elevation. The first floor will be used for a visitor center. If you notice the gate on the left-hand side, that will be locked at a certain time so that people cannot get in there all hours of the night, but it does go all the way back, so it's kind of like a hallway through to the alleyway, so that you can get to the parking and things like that. The door is what looks like the window on the far right, so that'll be the door into the main visitor center, and then the second and third stories will have city offices, and we are doing a facility study right now to figure out who will be over there, so we're just not quite sure yet. But this is what we're asking you to approve today. We are ready to begin construction fairly soon. So David and Piazza, who are won the bids from the city, are under a tight timeline from us, so I know that they are anxious to get started. I'm happy to answer any questions, and Mr. Baca is here as well.
No, the only statement that I would make is, in just reviewing our new design guidelines, this is fully what you expect for an infill. And it is exactly appropriate to the setback and to the height. So I applaud it.
I would applaud Mr. Baca and Mr. Shear. They started on all of those designs, yes.
I would just note he hasn't signed the application though yet.
I did notice that.
The windows on the second floor, are those functional?
I'm sorry?
The
The
window's
windows on
functional.
the second floor, are they functional? They are fixed, okay, stationary, okay, thank you.
There are, I know we're only looking at the exterior, but I think it's good for the public to know. I think there are 5 or 6 bathrooms downstairs. There are quite a few bathrooms in this building, which is heavily needed in the downtown. So the goal was to have a space that could be utilized by the public as well as the city as we expand.
Did we recently have an applicant, now these are the Romeo and Juliet balconies up here. Didn't we recently have an applicant
We
that
did.
had that in front of us?
That was the Acostas, yes. On the building back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we approved it.
We did.
Okay.
It looks beautiful. I love the design. Beautiful job. Very historical.
Very much so. I hope the other two are the same. So if there's no other further discussion, Madam Chairman, I would move that we approve for the certificate of appropriateness for the new construction on the site of 321 West Main Street.
Second.
Motion by Kurt Chakowski, second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for a C of A to place a feather sign flag in front of 312 West Main Street during the D3 construction.
Thank you. This request came from a business owner at 325 West Main Street. They are requesting the placement of open, what we consider a feather sign. That's what we call it, or a feather flag, for during the period of time in which construction will be started on the next phase of the D3 project. He wrote a very detailed letter of intent, which was helpful, I think, in the types of material and the size, and some suggestions on the placement of the sign. I want to note that I'm following what our ordinances say, and my staff recommendation I think my recommendation was not to approve based off of those ordinances. However, that being said, we know the hardships. We, being city leadership, understand the hardship that construction can cause to small business owners, and we are amenable to moving forward with the flags during the period of construction, and I just wanted you to know that, as well as we would be looking at not having the flag on the fence. We're not okay with that because it can catch the wind and knock the fence down, but in the previous phases, the banners were allowed on the fences, and the contractor said he's good with that again. So the banners that say open with the arrow going this way, and then I think there was another one with the different businesses listed. So we will be doing that again. So the only other option then is to have a freestanding sign that would have to be weighted somehow, only during construction. So it would just be for the period of construction, and then once that's over, the signs will not be permitted anymore, as they're not allowed otherwise throughout the city. So just wanted you to have that information moving forward. His proposed sign is 5 feet tall. It may look a little differently than this, but we'll figure out the placement and things like that should you approve it. And the applicant is here, but I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Before we get to him, if we could, and I'm looking for you, Mary Ann, or for you, Donna, as the Main Street Director. There were lessons learned from the 100 and 200 block construction, and the implications that, and the adverse issues that happened to those store owners. I believe that there'd be more than one owner that would like to do this kind of feather flag. So can we not just approve for all of them
That's
who would like to?
correct. Yes.
Number 3 is, as the historical preservation, we can't grant the variance to the ordinance.
You can.
We can,
Yes.
as a judgmental board,
Correct.
to this ordinance, even though it's chapter
There
19.
There is one section where you're allowed to do that, and I thought I noted it.
Otherwise, we could certainly endorse it or support it.
Yes, and that's what I need today,
Is
is that motion to endorse and
endorse,
support. I think
or
that's the
recommend
best-
against.
Yes.
Okay?
I agree that it's appropriate to have some kind of individual signage down the street to let people know that the businesses are open. I do note that others didn't have that opportunity, but I still think it's appropriate because there were repercussions down the street. I would like to see some uniformity in them. And if in fact others want to participate, perhaps there might be a unit price. But for me, aesthetically, I would like them all to be the same.
Sure. And then, as you said, we've learned, right? We're all going through this together, so we want to do what's best for our community and the business owners. So that would be an option moving forward as construction continues.
And again,
on
could
other
we work through the
blocks.
main street to ensure that there is a commonality of the flag? And I believe the branding would be this green and black.
It would be similar. Whatever the exact colors are, I don't know those codes or whatever for the D3 branding, but it would match that, yeah. So it might be a little different than what you see here, but it would be uniform. That's what we would aim to provide.
Certainly would give Mr. Roberts his chance to talk here if he wanted to.
Before I speak on it, I would like to, if I could, ask Mike Roberts to come up here, not related. He has a business on the 100 block, and so he can speak to what it's like to go through the construction, and then I can talk about this. Would that be acceptable with
Yes,
y'all?
if we could get
Just
your name
name
and
and-
address.
and
So my
address.
name is Derek Roberts at 325 West Main Street, historical downtown Denison, Texas.
Thank you,
Mike Roberts, 131 West Main, Horses Axe.
thank you.
Oh, you're going to leave me by myself? You just tell me a little bit about.
Well, my business, I think, was pretty fortunate that we were open for, 5 or 6 weeks, and then all the construction stuff came down. It just kind of worked out pretty well. But I can tell you, during that first 5 or 6 weeks, it was super slow, and we were, just trying to do everything we could to get people in. We also, I guess, probably against ordinance, had some feather flags out, just kind of trying to get people to come in. But I think what was even more telling, because we weren't expecting to boom, on day one, but there was a time several months later when something happened in the intersection and they redid something again and it was closed down, I think, for a week. That weekend, empty. So I think that any kind of sign, and I agree with what you were saying about keeping them all the same, I think it would look really nice, because if people can look down a sidewalk and see, oh, wow, there's 10 open signs, and they all look the same, that's going to draw the eye. I think anything like that can get people to walk down the street is going to be beneficial for the business owners.
Thank you.
But to answer some of y'all's questions y'all already asked, yes, the signs will be the same. I'm also representing Downtown Denison Incorporated, and so we've already pledged to buy at least half of the signs, where the business owners would only have to carry up to 50% of the sign. So they would all look exactly the same. This is just a quick drawing of it. We can change the font, we can change the color, we can do anything like that with it. The signs did come with feet to hold it, so it could sit by itself. We're talking with some people from the city. We were thinking, just because other signs are hung on the fence, maybe if it hung on the fence, but if y'all don't want that, it's actually more cost. We don't have to buy anything else, so I'm better with it on that side. But so what DDI is planning on doing is buying 20 flags that are all going to be identical, with starting on the 300 block. Only whenever the fences are in front of it can they have it out, and then as it progressively moves down, hopefully these flags can be shared with other businesses on the 400, 500, 600 block and go down that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion? Motion?
I would move that we approve a weighted, freestanding, common set of flags in front of 300 West Main Street businesses during the D3 construction when the fences are in front of their business.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved, thank you. And just a quick question, they will not have, yes, for you, they will not have, anybody else that would have a sign would not have to come back before the board again, is that
No.
correct? Okay,
No, we'll make sure that that's
thank you.
all taken care of.
All right,
We will just need to ensure that the businesses know that it's for the construction.
That's correct.
Not normally.
That's correct. And staff, that'll be our job to make sure that that's communicated well.
E, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request for a C of A to remove metal accent skirting along roof, replace roof, and add custom metal screening enclosures around the AC units at 430 West Chestnut Street.
Thank you. This is for what is known as Bella Fontana Spa. Sometimes when you say the address, it's hard to know where we're referring to without having that in there. The applicant this is an emergency request because there are several leaks in the roof that are being created from the skirting. It's protruding into the roof. The skirting is what is now blue on the top, and you'll see on this, all of those, the bracing and the framing is just piercing. So the insurance company has agreed to replace the roof, and they are ready to move on this to prevent further damage. The request is asking not to put the skirting back up there. The skirting over the door will stay. So if you look on that bottom photo right over the door, that blue portion will stay, but the portion on the roof will not stay. That causes sight lines to the AC units, and so the applicant is proposing to enclose those with the same type of metal material that will disguise the AC units. The applicant is here, and if you don't have any questions for me, we can invite him to come up.
My name is Ben Kraus. I'm with T-Rock Roofing, and I live over on 920 Brown Road.
Thank you.
This roof, yeah, like she had said, it's got that awning around it. There was one photo, that one. So the one in that photo at the top right, kind of my point with that is you can see the skirting, but the AC unit is sticking up above it. So it's already not serving its current purpose. The way that that's installed into the roof, like she showed in the photos, probably every 8 feet, both into the parapet wall and into the roof, is completely penetrating it. And it's leaked, it's had issues for a long time. It's just not it's not ideal. You want as few holes in your roof as possible. So because of that, we'd like to just completely delete that whenever we replace the roof. And then again, like she said, they can come out and build the custom screens out of that same R panel material that will actually hide the units.
And how are you going to anchor the AC units?
So those you can anchor into the curbs that the AC unit sits on,
Okay.
and then you can do some other floating things where you're not having to puncture the membrane of the roof.
Just so 60-mile-an-hour winds don't blow it off.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather look at the HVAC than what's up there now.
I would be completely happy to just leave the AC units as they sit and not do anything. But
I don't think my peers would necessarily agree, but I think it would be really better for the building for that skirting not to be around it any longer.
I think it would look much cleaner for sure.
I mean, aesthetically and to keep the roof from falling in.
Was the original purpose of that just for design, just aesthetics?
I believe that, yes, I'm assuming the original design purpose was to shield the
Just
AC
to shield the
units.
AC
Right.
units?
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
replaced that and went to a bigger unit, higher capacity.
Those fake mansards were popular for about 15 minutes. Sorry.
When do you plan to redo the roof?
We'd like to do it as soon as possible. We just got approval on the insurance claim probably a week ago. So I got all this sent in, and then we're pending the permit. We're hoping to start here in possibly another week or so.
Excellent that the insurance came through.
Yeah, it only took us 6 to 8 months to get it done, but we got it done.
I have no questions.
No questions, discussion, okay. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness to remove metal accent skirting along the roof, replace the roof, and add the custom metal screening enclosures around the AC units at 430 West Chestnut Street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rhonda Bourne and a second by Steve Riley. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff updates.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The only staff update I have is just to make sure that the public is aware that we will be having the certified local government training. It will be held up in the Eisenhower room because council chambers is booked later this afternoon, so we'll be up there, and it's a better training area as well, and that is for all of you as well as some city staff, and that'll be conducted by the Texas Historical Commission's certified local government staff. So they are here today. We just always want to note that for transparency purposes.
And when does it convene?
Thank
Right
you.
after this.
Right after this, you can have a little bit of a break.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, I move for adjournment.
Second.
Okay. 12:30, adjourned. Thank you.